Let's get started.
Well, welcome back to TwinSight. In this episode, we're going to focus on the new car buying process. This is a stressful time for people, yet we've got computers, we've got information, we've got a lot of access that we didn't have years ago. So it seems like this should be simple, like buying a refrigerator, and yet it isn't. And why is that?
Well, Chris, it's a significant complex purchase. It's a little unfamiliar, it's intimidating, and you're on the dealer's turf. They do it every day, you do it once every few years, so they have a little bit of advantage over you.
We want to give you some inside information just to reduce distress and anxiety and explain how the process is going to work.
Now, we've discussed in the past how it's a complicated process. Why is it so complicated? Why is it, again, not just like buying a refrigerator or a bathtub?
Well, Chris, some people look at it as one transaction. They're going to buy a car. Really, there's 6 transactions that you have to be aware of when you're purchasing a car. 3 are core and 3 other ones are significant.
And which are the 3 core?
The 3 core ones are you're buying a car, whether it's new or used. You're buying a financing product, most likely, to finance your purchase. And then you're most likely trading in a car or selling a car, which is another transaction. And all 3 of those are part of one big transaction.
Okay. And how about the other 3?
The other 3 are you might be buying extended warranty. You have to get new insurance. You're going to be buying new insurance and maybe some insurance for the financing. And the other one is there's vehicle add-ons. Some you need, some you don't need.
And so why do we say they're separate transactions? What's the key there?
Because in any big dealership, you've got all these different departments that, for lack of a better word, they're competing against each other. So they're all a business within the major business, and they're all vying for your hard-earned money.
So they're profit centers for the business, so you have to be on your game for each of these, like
Correct.
buying the car, the financing instrument, and so forth.
And each one of them is negotiable.
Okay. And how are the core ones interdependent? How do they work together?
Well, like the first 3 ones, if you're buying a car, you're financing, and you're trading in the car, they might sell you the car at less of a price if they can make a little more money on the financing, or they can take your trade-in in for a little less and see a profit there. They're looking at it as one big transaction when really it's 3 significant separate transactions.
Exactly. But we're going to give you insight on how to handle it.
We'll prepare you for it.
Now, how has COVID changed things?
COVID's changed things a lot for everybody in a lot of ways. In the car business, there's a lack of parts. There's a big lack of computer chips. So there's a lot of lack of new car inventory. The supply chain bringing the new cars to the dealership is down. That's made used cars become very in demand, and we're seeing record high prices for used cars. So right now, your used car more than likely is worth more than you think it is, and that's your bargaining chip in your currency for buying a new car.
Terrific. Okay, we're now going to talk about car dealers and car sellers and how they frame up a little bit differently to the consumer. Let's start with these mega multi-line dealers, the ones you see on the major boulevards, perhaps with a lot of different kinds of cars available in one big location. How does this play out for the consumer?
Chris, we'll call this a mega dealer. They got several different franchises, right? They got a great selection. You can cross-compare models and prices. For example, if you're looking for a midsize SUV, you can cross-compare a lot of different brands and their prices to see what they are. At a mega dealer, you're not going to get as much of personal service, and you're probably going to get a slightly better price at a mega dealer because they do a lot of volume.
This might be a good place to go if you're an experienced car buyer.
Yeah, but perhaps you don't know what you want, but you had experience and you can kind of negotiate
exactly.
well. Okay. Now,
Right.
How about these small local dealers that perhaps sell one kind of car, maybe 2?
I think this is a great avenue for somebody that's a first-time car buyer, and they've kind of narrowed it down to what kind of model they want. When you deal with a small, we'll call it a single-line dealer that specializes in a certain product, you're going to get a much more personal relationship and personal service while you're dealing there.
And probably employee continuity, so when you go back for service in 18 months, the salesperson is still there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
How about online portals, Costco buying programs, things like that? What do we think?
So online portals, we're in a digital age. So there's pros and cons to buying a car online. I mean, it's difficult to test drive a car when you're buying it online. However, you can cross compare a lot of models just sitting in front of your computer with a cup of coffee. I think you're excluding yourself from the fact that you might be able to negotiate a little bit of a better price. If you do something through like Costco, you're still going to the dealership to buy the car. You're still going to be there. You're still going to be dealing with people. Another con to what I would say, if your trade-in's above average, it's going to be harder to get to a top dollar for your above average trade when you're trading it in.
And Chris, I'd like to add, online you're doing a lot through pictures. A lot of it is just through pictures. So just keep that in mind when you're buying the car.
Pictures, what's the saying? A picture is worth 1,000 words. Pictures make us all look good, and some pictures lie.
Okay, now turning then to new used cars, rather, you got the online and mega players, Carvana. What do we think of Carvana?
Yeah, I mean, Carvana, you do everything online. You're not dealing with any people. You're looking at the car online. You're applying for your financing online. They're giving you trade-in value for your car online. You're getting an out-the-door price without negotiating with anybody, and they're delivering it right to your house.
And CarMax, how do they frame?
CarMax is a great selection of cars. They're a nationwide network and they have a good selection. CarMax is a good place to go if you don't know exactly what kind of car you want. If you you don't know whether you want a sedan, an SUV, a pickup truck, you can go there, look around, and they have a lot of brands and models so you can try to figure out exactly what you want.
So might be a good place then to go for research regardless of where you might end up.
Excellent place for research.
Okay, how about VROOM? What do you think?
VROOM's the new kid on the block. They're very aggressive right now to try to get some market share. They're very aggressive on their pricing. They're very aggressive on what they're giving you for their trade.
Okay, how about AutoNation?
I'd say AutoNation is more in the new car business. Not to say that they don't sell used cars, but AutoNation is more of a new car dealer.
Okay, then turning to new car dealers as sellers of used cars. Is this a good idea for a buyer?
This is a great idea, especially if you're buying their product, a Ford from a Ford dealer. They might have sold the car brand new. They might have serviced it right there in their service department. They took it in trade on a newer model. It's a great place to go for used cars.
Okay. How about a local general car dealer right down the street?
Local general car dealers, we like them. They usually don't have the big overhead that, say, a big dealership or even a small new car dealership has. So their profit margins are usually not as big as, say, going to a mega dealer or even a standalone new car dealer. So they don't have the overhead like they do. So sometimes you'll get a better price at a used car dealership.
You trust your instincts in terms of the nature of the place, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do your homework. Look
When in doubt, cut it out. If they're pushing you, it's time to get in your car and walk away.
And do your homework. There's reviews out there. See what their customers are saying about them.
Now, how about local specialized dealers for used cars?
I love specialized dealers, and I love them for many reasons, but the main reason being their product knowledge. So if they specialize in Subarus, Volvos, Cadillacs, whatever they specialize in, they got a ton of product knowledge on these vehicles. So when they take a car for a ride and it's making a squeak at 38 miles an hour, chances are they already know what's wrong with that car.
And remember, Chris, those specialized dealers, their competition is the new car dealer selling used cars. I'll take an Audi, for example. If you got an Audi dealer selling used Audis and you have a specialized dealer selling Audis, his prices are going to be a little more reasonable because he's trying to get you to his dealership rather than go to a new car dealership.
Okay. Now, how about repair shops, folks who perhaps you trust as a mechanic and now they put a few cars outside?
If you've got a mechanic that you trust, and everybody should have one, where you get your car maintained and repaired, these guys are a plethora of knowledge. It's a great resource. You might want to not even ask them what kind of car to buy. You might want to ask them what car not to buy. And a lot of these guys, their main business is maintenance and repairs, and they sell a car on the side. So they're not trying to make a fortune on this used car, and they already know that you're visiting their dealership, so they know they're going to see you again, and they want you there as a maintenance and service customer.
And they've probably repaired the car well because they know their stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
They have a lot of information for you.
And private parties, just buying the old-fashioned way from the guy down the street?
Private parties, I love private party cars. The main reason I love private party cars, you're getting it right from the horse's mouth. You can speak to the person that actually drove this car. They bought it brand new. Where did they get it serviced? Do they have service records for it? They can explain everything about the car. And if you pull in their driveway and their lawn's nice and neat and their house is nice and neat, there's a good shot that they took good care of that car too.
And terrific.
As always, we greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch our channel.
Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below what you found insightful or things you might want us to talk about in the future. I'm Ricky.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Chris.
Be strong and courageous.